So the Sonic Racing CrossWorld closed beta happened like 2 months ago, and I did record a little bit of me playing it. I played a lot of it, but I only have like an hour of footage of it. I just feel like, well, it's been 2 months now. I've been sitting on this footage. I might as well use it. And I think enough time has passed that I can reflect on my experience with the game and have a more coherent opinion than, I had a blast. Because I did have a blast. I remember when the closed beta was going around, I saw a lot of videos of people saying, like, mixed things. A lot of mixed things about the game. They either loved it or they hated it. And I, for one, had a blast playing the closed beta. I think it was super fun. It was super flashy. It felt very arcadey, and I think that's because the new devs who are making the game are the same people who do the initial D arcade games, which I'm not super familiar with. I think I've played like 1 or 2 before, but I do like the new direction. I do like it. It's just that I do have some nitpicks about the closed beta. Again, overall, I had a blast playing through it. The roster looks promising. The actual feel of the game feels very nice. The look of the game is amazing. The course design, I think, is really good, especially since there's a lot of stuff happening. I just feel like there was never a dull moment. There was always stuff happening, even track-wise, like hazards or stuff happening in the background. It just felt like there was always something going on with the track, and I thought that was super nice. But in terms of the things that I think could be a little better, the drifting could be a little better, I think. It is something that you have to get used to. Like, it's not a bad drift. It's just, it doesn't feel like the boost I get from the drift is that significant, if that makes sense. Like, it just feels very, like it happens, you know? The drifting is useful, and it is something you have to get used to because it's super tight compared to All-Stars Racing. But, no, I think the drift is good. It just needs a little bit of tweaking. In terms of drifting on boat, though, I don't like it. I just don't like it in general. So instead of a traditional drift mechanic for boating, instead you charge up a jump. And I don't like it because, one, I don't see the point. I don't see the point in jumping. At least from my memory, I don't think there were things in the air you could jump to. And I know there were ramps in some boat sections, but you can just ramp that, right? I didn't see the point in jumping. And in my experience, drifting only made me slower on boat. So really, I just would have preferred a normal drifting. I know that's not natural, but is it any more natural for a boat to fucking jump out of the water like the way it does in this game? And the plane sections, I actually really liked. I think I liked the plane sections more in this game than I did in All-Stars Racing Transformed. In Transformed, I don't mind the plane sections. I think I'm the only person in the world who's actually super used to the plane sections in Transformed. But it's actually really good in CrossWorlds. I actually really like it. Again, comparing the boat sections from CrossWorlds to Transformed, Transformed had very floaty physics, and that made boating almost god-awful in that game, honestly. I hated the boating sections in those games. And in this game, it actually feels super nice. It feels really nice. I just don't like the drifting. And in terms of balance, I think the balance is actually really good because you never stay in the same position for long. It feels like the item balance is really good. I do like the items in the game. I feel like they could be a little bit more inspired, but it's whatever. It's good. I like the item balance. I like the balance of the game in general. It just feels super nice. And something I noticed when I was looking back on this footage is that when you're getting close to the final lap and finishing, your position disappears. And I think that adds a little bit of suspense. I do like that. But that's just something, that's just cool. That's neat. Has nothing to do with the balance. I just think that's neat. In terms of the mechanic, it's gimmick mechanic, I guess. Where you go through warp gates. I'm really worried that the warp tracks are just exclusively warp tracks and you can't race them as normal tracks, if that makes sense. And I also hope that there is some sort of game mode where you can just race them as normal without the warp tracks, because I do like the warp tracks. I think it makes the racing a bit more interesting. I just feel like you don't get to appreciate the track as much when you're not staying in it for long. if that makes any sense. I know that doesn't really matter to the overall gameplay of it, because the gameplay gimmick is fun. I just hope for the final release that there's a way to experience these tracks like a normal racetrack. Not to give away from their unique gimmick. It's just I hope they do more with it, if that makes sense. And something I couldn't notice a difference in the beta at least, and I don't know if they ever talked about the difference, is the difference in carts. Because instead of the characters having like speed, technique, power, stuff like that, I think there was a fourth one. I don't remember though. But instead of the characters having those types, it's the carts. It's the cars that have those types. I don't know if there's any strategical advantage to using power over technique or technique over speed, etc., etc. So I hope that gets explained more in the final release in some kind. And I don't know how I really like I don't know what the mechanic was called, but you could like equip buffs to yourself. Not sure how I like that. It was like very minor stuff that in the grand scheme of things doesn't really affect the race that much, but I don't really want that to be a huge deciding factor in a race. I think it takes away from the overall gameplay, if that makes any sense. I think having a strategical advantage like that is a little bit bullshit. Less bullshit than how in Transform you can literally gamble for a advantage, like a starting item or something, because that was bullshit. But yeah, I just hope that this doesn't turn into that, and I think it does. I think it does turn into that. I think there were items that said spawn with this. Oh god, wait, I think I do remember that. Yeah, I hope that just gets tweaked to not be so bullshit, you know? In terms of the roster, I do have high hopes for the roster, especially since, according to articles at least, we are going to get other Sega IPs, which was a huge thing for me. I was really hoping that we get other Sega reps in this game. The only issue I'm going to predict is that this is going to turn into an All-Stars Racing Transform situation. If you remember, when Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed was coming around, if you remember in Mario Kart 7, they had the gliding and underwater sections. And then Transformed comes out after Mario Kart 7, and people are comparing the two like, oh, Sega just copied Mario Kart 7. It was just a coincidence that they had similar mechanics, but people said All-Star Transformed was just a lesser Mario Kart 7 because it just copied mechanics, when that wasn't the case. It was just a coincidence. I feel like it's going to have the similar effect, you know? Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is going to promise like a huge roster, like in series history, like biggest roster in Sonic Racing history. And well, Mario Kart World was announced and it's coming out before CrossWorlds, and it has the biggest roster in series history. I just feel like it's going to have a similar situation, especially since even items in the games seemingly have similar effects. Like in CrossWorlds, there's an Omochao item that feeds you rings. Like he sends rings in front of you and you can like collect those. And if you're not fast enough, I think they can be stolen from you, right? Mario Kart World has a golden shell that sends a ring of coins in front of you that you can collect. Similarly, in CrossWorlds, you have like a monster truck item that gives you a monster truck that you can squash people with and go off-road. In Mario Kart World, you got the Mega Mushroom that does basically the same thing. I just really hope that there's not a lot of comparisons when these two games do eventually come out, because it's gonna be the same situation where it's like, CrossWorlds and Mario Kart World do these same things, but Mario Kart World did it first, and it's like, no, CrossWorlds did it first. It's just a coincidence that they all have these things going on at the same time. I really hope it doesn't turn into that when these games eventually do come out. And my last nitpick I have to say about the game is just the overall UI of the game looks super bland and super like online focused. If you've ever played a game that's like super online centric, you know what I mean when I say this game has online-esque menus. Like the UI just has that feel to it, you know? It's really weird. But yeah, I do like Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I do have my nitpicks with it. I did have an amazing time playing it, and I'm not just gonna lessen that experience. Like, I did really enjoy my experience playing it. It's just things in it could be better. And I really do hope the best for this game, because I really do hope it does well, and I do hope it gets a lot of support. The idea of a Sonic game with this big of a roster with other Sega IPs coming in later sounds amazing. I'm really stoked for this game. I'm really hyped for it. It's just I'm also hyped for Mario Kart World, and again, I really hope there's not a lot of comparisons between the two when they do eventually come out. But yeah, that's the video. I just wanted to talk about it because I had this footage sitting in my hard drive and I forgot about it. And here's a video, so there you go. Subscribe and all of that. I'll see you in the next one? Question mark? Bye-bye.